Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Josh Poet with you, First Contact Radio. Hope you're doing well out there in the world. I know we're dealing with some incidents here in the United States, earthquakes, got a big hurricane about to hit the East Coast. So we got lots to talk about. So stay safe, and let's get into the news, and let's see what we can figure out for today. We're going to start things off, as always, with our dream spell. We start off for a red lunar serpent, guided by the serpent. Red lunar serpent, guided by the serpent. Red is the color of initiation. The lunar tones, tone number 11. It's the two bars, 5 and 5, and the dot is 1, so that makes 11. This is called the spectral tone of liberation. The symbol for today is the serpent. The serpent is about life force, and the guide for today is also the serpent. It's about life force. Remember, on the days that are 1 tones, 6 tones, and 11 tone days, the guide is the same as the daykin. So therefore, today, being an 11 tone day, we have the serpent guided by the serpent. The phrase for today is I dissolve in order to survive, releasing instinct. I seal the store of life force with the spectral tone of liberation. I am guided by my own power doubled. And on the Gregorian calendar, it is Friday, August 26, 2011. Alrighty. So that gets you up to speed with where we are in a dream spell. Now, during the course of this week, I've been playing for you information about John F. Kennedy and Majestic 12. So today, we're going to continue along. This is part 4. Stay tuned. Here we go.
Getting access to any of this stuff. So minimal information to Kennedy, and he didn't have need to know concerning MJ12 activities. The other important thing about this November 5 response by Dulles is that it's strongly implied that the MJ12 draft memorandum that Dulles wanted a response by October for, that included the cryptic assassination directive had been approved. So the other 6 members of the Majestic 12 team that Dulles sent off that draft to basically approved it, which is why Dulles sent that November memo to Kennedy telling him that he wasn't going to be given access to the classified UFO files. Now the thing is that Byrne memo was a draft memo. No doubt that's probably why it was preserved and was eventually leaked, because there's no way to tell what were the final revisions made to that. But I think whatever revisions were made were probably very minimal, especially given what happened to Kennedy a couple of years later. So Kennedy's told he's not going to be given access by the CIA to these classified UFO files. So what does Kennedy do in response? Well, if his Director of Central Intelligence says no and then buries control of this in the CIA apparatus, so that even his incoming Director of Central Intelligence, John McCone, isn't given access to this, what else can Kennedy do? Well, he's still Commander-in-Chief. All the military forces answer to him, and he can go to any military base anywhere in the world, any US military base, and demand access to what's on that base. And I think that's exactly what Kennedy did, try to assert presidential authority. So that's a picture of him at Andrews Air Force Base. He's Commander-in-Chief, and any military commander would be obliged to give Kennedy access no matter what other orders he had been given. So this was Kennedy's way of being able to basically confront MJ12. So despite that rebuff, Kennedy uses his authority as Commander-in-Chief to learn about UFOs, visits military facilities housing extraterrestrial artifacts, allegedly meets twice with a famous contactee who passes on extraterrestrial information and arranges a meeting between Kennedy and ETs. So these are the sort of things you would imagine Kennedy would do. If there are ET artifacts, they're on military bases, he's Commander-in-Chief, he's going to go there and he's going to demand access. He wants to see it. Whoever the commanding general is, give me access to whatever's in Hangar 18 or whatever facility at Homestead Air Force Base houses ET artifacts or whatever it is. And also, if there are contactees, if there's any truth to this contactee thing. I mean, contactees were heavily debunked in the 1950s. My goodness, I mean, these contactees, I mean, they were frauds, right? I mean, this is undisputed. A lot of these contactees, they were shown historically, all their photos and films and all of these face-to-face meetings with human-looking extraterrestrials from other worlds. I mean, completely fake, completely fabricated, right? Well, maybe not. Kennedy knew the truth, and he knew that psychological warfare operations were being used to deal with the UFO issue. Were psychological warfare operations used against the contactee movement? I think so, very heavily. I'll talk about that shortly. So, what evidence is there that Kennedy actually did see ET artifacts on these bases, any military facilities? In his book, Need to Know, Timothy Good cites a reliable military source that Kennedy was taken to see alien bodies from Roswell. Around 1961-62, President J.F. Kennedy expressed the wish to see the alien bodies associated with an alien crash site. He had obviously been informed of their existence and wished to see for himself the evidence. According to information received, the alien bodies were taken to Florida when Kennedy went to see them at a medical facility. So the photo on the left there is Kennedy arriving at Homestead Air Force Base, Florida, 25th of November 1962. Homestead Air Force Base, interesting facility. I mean, they have medical facilities there. That's an interesting place, Homestead. Oh, does that ring a bell for anyone? Well, maybe you'll recall that President Nixon says that he took Jackie Gleason to Homestead Air Force Base to see some extraterrestrial artifacts, bodies. So there's Nixon arriving at Homestead Air Force Base in 1972. So Homestead Air Force Base was the place that they housed some of the bodies from the Roswell crash. Kennedy knew about it, and he went there. Commander-in-Chief, give me access, and he got it, despite whatever CIA were basically saying at the time, or denying him at the time. There's a leaked CIA wiretap dated August 3rd, 1962, that shows that Marilyn Monroe was going to reveal that President Kennedy saw alien bodies at a US Air Force base. The transcript states, Rothberg indicated in so many words that she, Monroe, had secrets to tell, no doubt arising from her trysts with the President and the Attorney General. One such secret mentions the visit by the President at a secret Air Force base for the purpose of inspecting things from outer space. Kilgallen replied that she knew what might be the source of the visit. In the mid-50s, Kilgallen learned of a secret effort by US and UK governments to identify the origins of crashed spacecraft and dead bodies from a British government official. Kilgallen believed the story may have come from the New Mexico story, Roswell, in the late 40s. Kilgallen was a British journalist who was very friendly with Monroe, and they talked a lot about Monroe's relationships, and Monroe basically told Kilgallen everything, and also told her that Kennedy visited ET artifacts on a military base and basically knew all about this. Now, the important thing is that this CIA wiretap document was signed by James Angleton, Chief of Counterintelligence for the CIA. So Monroe's conversations concerning Kennedy, the visits to the military facilities to see ET artifacts, this was all being monitored by Angleton and counterintelligence for the CIA. So basically, CIA counterintelligence is very heavily involved in what it is that is being kept secret here from the American public, and wanting to know exactly what the President is knowing about this. And that's not a surprise too. If you think that the whole UFO ET issue is heavily involved with intelligence and with psychological warfare, CIA counterintelligence would be the place that would be basically where you would want to have this kind of like kept secret, even from the CIA itself. The CIA is a pretty vast organization, and so if you want to maintain secrecy, the best place to put it is in CIA counterintelligence, the mole hunters, because they're the ones that would keep secrets, even from the CIA rank and file. So signature reveals Angleton's CIA counterintelligence heavily involved in events concerning classified UFO files. Documents point to Monroe's knowledge of Kennedy visiting an Air Force base to see remnants of crashed UFOs and EBEs. Okay, what else did Kennedy do? Well, this is the historical material that probably The most contentious, and I will definitely admit that this is going to be contentious stuff for many of you, but nevertheless it's very important given the context of what Kennedy was trying to do in that period when he was denied access to UFO files. If there was any truth to the contactee movement, don't you think he would want to find out what the contactees knew? Don't you think he would basically want to ask any of these contactees if they were really having direct face-to-face encounters with extraterrestrials? Well, can you arrange one for me? Apparently that is exactly what he did. According to George Adamski, one of the contactees, the most famous contactee from the 1950s, Kennedy was confidentially visited by Adamski twice in late 1961 and 62 and passed on communications and information from his ET contacts. Adamski claims that he regularly briefed the Pentagon after his ET contacts and flown directly from California to DC by military jets. Adamski had a US government ordnance card which gave him access to secure military facilities. And this has been verified by others. William Sherwood, an optical physicist at Kodak, actually worked at the US Ordnance Department in the 50s and the 40s. And he actually saw this ordnance card that gave Adamski access to secure areas at military facilities. So if Adamski was a fraud, as many believe, then why is he carrying this government ordnance card? I mean, he served in this briefly in the Second World War, and then basically he's running a hamburger stand on Mount Palomar. So why would this guy have an ordnance card in the 1950s and 1960s that he's showing to people to prove that, that I'm the real deal here? And he's actually saying that, he's visiting the Pentagon and briefing the Pentagon on his contacts. If he's a fraud, why is this happening? Why is he given ordnance cards, giving him access to military facilities? And Sherwood wasn't the only one. Madeline Rodefer, who was not getting access to any of this.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. To ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to all